let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to the
Good evening,
show.
Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
And far. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Yes. Welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. I am Sabrina, and we're broadcasting live right here from the beautiful Cayman Islands, Monday to Friday, but not tomorrow because it's Good Friday, from 5 until 7. Yes, it's good to be back with you. Another engaging, informative episode here again on Sabrina Speaks. And you know what? Just let me go right into it. Blessed Holy Thursday to every one of you. Yes, today is the day that, it calls all of us to pause, literally. Despite me not seeing that on the roads when I did venture out earlier on today, for some reason, I just had my day planned and it just didn't go as I want. So you know what? I just went with the wind. I was like a leaf. And of course, get out on the road and you would swear it was like, the holiday before Christmas. Yeah, that's how the roads were. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, so it was mayhem out there, but still, we're not going to take away from the fact that it is Holy Thursday. And I want to wish everyone a blessed Holy Thursday to each and every one of you. And when you look at it for what it's worth and for where you, out of respect, it takes a moment for us to just pause, to take a breath and reflect. Yes, because it's not complicated. Really, Holy Thursday is a reminder of humility, service, and love. And it marks the moment. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to share it with you. It marks the moment. Jesus washed the feet of his disciples and shared a final meal with them, not to show authority, but to show compassion. So in plain terms, Holy Thursday asks us one simple question. How are we treating each other? Are we leading with kindness? Are we serving with intention? Or are we showing up for our families, neighbors, and our community? Number of questions. And as we hold those questions in our hearts today, something extraordinary is happening above our heads as well, because if you recall, not all Fools Day alone. Yesterday, Wednesday, April 1st, 4 astronauts launched aboard Artemis 2. And they are now on a 10-day journey to orbit the moon, becoming the first humans in more than 50 years to travel that far from Earth. And think about that for a moment. While we reflect on our service here on Earth, humanity is reaching outward, and they're actually pushing boundaries and exploring the unknown, and also preparing to see the far side of the moon that human eyes exactly have never seen before. So this is historic. And people ask, why can't we see the backside of the moon? Did you ever think of that before? Well, you got to stick around because the answer is simple. I'm going to give you a hint why you don't see the back of the moon. The moon itself spins. But guess what? It spins at the exact same speed it orbits Earth. Just like if you walked into a circle around someone while turning your head, so your face always stays towards the individual, they'd only ever see one side of you. Put it into perspective. And that's the moon. Tidal locking is what it's called. Billions of years of perfect balance. So yes, on this episode of Sabrina Speaks, we connect faith, science, and also Caymanian heritage in one powerful conversation. And around 5:30 or so, joining me, we will have Mr. Stuart Wilson from the National Trust and Miss Tunisia Barnes from the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, as they will be sharing with us the incredible story and something that's going to happen Sunday night into the hours of Monday morning. The story of a 200-year-old Caymanian house. We spoke about it here. That house was once owned by Miss Louiswise Louwellin, and now it's being relocated and preserved after the property was sold to 1GT for development. And we'll also be exploring how this effort reflects Cayman's government's commitment in protecting our history while shaping the future. Now, there are a number of people that made this possible. So that is why I'm looking forward for this discussion in a couple of minutes. So from the far side of the moon to the heart of Cayman, this is about what we see and what we fight to preserve. And the number to call is 345-936-8255. To be a part of this discussion this evening. And I need to remind you all that the content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, or participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. So I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for specific concerns. Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented. Now, this getting straight into things because we got a jam-packed show for you today. Let's see what's going on with the weather. Remember yesterday, I told you there's a blob of moisture in between us, Jamaica, and Cuba. Well, let's hear it from the experts. Compliments of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, the forecast for this evening and into tomorrow. The synopsis calls for a low to mid-level moisture will move across the area today, increasing the chances of showers. Now, moderate winds and seas are expected as a ridge of high pressure dominates over the Northwest Caribbean. Radar imagery shows isolated showers in and around Cayman area moving west. The forecast for tonight calls for cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers. Temperatures will rise near the mid-80s. Winds will be easterly 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. And tonight calls for cloudy skies and a 40% chance, that's tomorrow, of showers. Temperatures will fall near the mid-70s and winds will be east to northeast 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Now, the sun will set this evening at 6:38. Sun will rise tomorrow morning at 6:18. There will be a high tide that's linking with the moon at 10:12 this evening. And tomorrow, there will be a low tide at 4:08 a.m. and another high at 9:34. Now, the outlook calls for moderate winds and seas are expected through Saturday. That has it for your evening's weather report. Compliments of our friends over there at the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Thank you for all of you who are just coming in. Please remember to share the link. Thank you for all of our new followers and subscribers. I see you. Thank you very much. And let us know where you're streaming from as well. We'll just go straight into the news as our guests actually are getting in order, in line to let us know what's happening for the week. But let's turn our attention over to local news. Yes, today marks World Autism Awareness Day. A global observance dedicated to increasing understanding, accepting, and support of individuals on the autism spectrum. Now, communities around the world are highlighting the importance of early diagnosis, inclusive education, and meaningful opportunities for children and adults with autism. Right here at home in the Cayman Islands, families, educators, and advocacy groups continue to promote greater awareness and celebrate the strengths and contributions of neurodiverse individuals. World Autism Awareness Day serves as a reminder that inclusion is not just a goal, it is a responsibility shared by all of us. Continuing with local news, the Cayman Islands Government has tabled Parliamentary Management Wrong Image Amendment Bill 2026, which would formally establish an office for the leader of the opposition and provide additional staffing support. Now, the bill also proposes increased resources for all 19 constituency offices, including raising the monthly constituency allowance from $5,000 CI to $6,500 to cover rising operational costs. Government officials says that these changes are intended to strengthen parliamentary democracy and improve support for members of parliaments as workloads continue to grow. Now, the bill has been gazetted and is now before Parliament for consideration. The Cayman Islands Government has released a summary of Cabinet meeting held on Wednesday, the 25th of March. At a meeting, Cabinet approved several key legislative items, including the Health Practice Amendment Bill and the Airports Authority Amendment Bill, both set to be tabled in Parliament. Cabinet also approved the new public roads in Old Man Bay, Northside, and in Newlands, authorizing the publication of the required boundary declarations. In addition, the Parliament Management Amendment Bill was approved in accordance with Standing Order 63. Government is saying that these updates reflect its ongoing commitment to transparency. Continuing with our local news, Appleby has announced a major leadership transition in its Cayman Islands office. The firm has appointed Simon Ralph-Talopos, yes, and I slaughter that, as the new managing partner, succeeding Norman Klein, who is retiring after 25 years with the organization. Now, the change comes as Appleby continues to expand its global practice, with the firm also confirming several key promotions across the Cayman team. Leadership says the appointments position the firm for continued growth which reflects its long-term commitment to the jurisdiction. And as we head on into the holiday weekend, the Cayman Islands Coast Guard is reminding boaters to review basic safety procedures ahead of the busy Easter weekend. Officials say knowing how to properly use VHF Channel 16, the international distress and calling frequency, can make a critical difference in an emergency. The Coast Guard is urging captains and passengers to ensure everyone on board understands how to operate a radio before heading out on open water. Authorities say quick, clear communication on Channel 16 remains one of the most effective ways to request help and coordinate rescue efforts. The Mosquito Research and Control Unit is advising the public to expect moderate mosquito activity across the Cayman Islands this Easter weekend, with some areas likely to experience heavier biting. Now, campers and outdoor enthusiasts are encouraged to use repellents containing DEET, Picardin, and IR 3535 and wear lightweight clothing that covers the skin. MRCU says most mosquitoes at this time of the year come from swamps and the wetlands, and while they do not transmit disease to humans, they can spread heartworm to pets. With Easter falling during the Heartworm Awareness Month, pet owners are urged to keep animals up to date on prevention. Evening aerial and ground control operations will also continue after sunset, and residents can report increased mosquito activity to mrcu@gov.ky. Also in other local news, the Cayman Islands Department of Environment is reminding residents to enjoy the Easter weekend responsibly while protecting the island's natural resources. Officials are urging the public to fish only in permitted areas, avoid feeding wildlife, and secure all trash to prevent shoreline pollution. The DOE is also asking divers and boaters traveling between islands to disinfect gear and bilges to help stop the spread of stony coral tissue loss disease. Now, conservation officers will be on patrol throughout the weekend, and the public is encouraged to report suspicious activity to 916-4271. That's 916-4271. The DOE says simple actions can help keep Cayman's environment safe and thriving. As we continue, we put the spotlight now on Cayman ironwood. The Cayman Islands National Trust is drawing attention to the importance of Cayman ironwood, a tree found throughout several key protected areas. The ironwood is unique to Cayman Islands and has played a significant role in the nation's history. Its wood is extremely dense, so dense it shrinks in water, and is naturally resistant to rot and termites. Historically, ironwood formed the framework of traditional Caymanian homes dating back to the mid-18th century, and builders used ironwood posts, wattled weaving, and coral base decob to create durable walls. The National Trust says protecting the ironwood is essential to preserving Cayman's culture and environmental heritage. Also, we ought to put a spotlight of those over at the Cayman Islands National Museum. Yes, the Cayman Islands Museum hosted an executive preview of its new exhibition. The Ira Thompson collection, now attended by family members of the late Ira Thompson, joined museum board members and invited guests for the first look at the showcase. Now, remarks were delivered by the Honorable Isaac Rankin, museum chairperson, Miss Bernard Cummings, and director, Dr. Coupe, and curator Arch, and Thompson's granddaughter, Wendy Moore, as well. The exhibition is now officially open to the public, offering a rare opportunity to experience one of Cayman's most cultural collections. So if you got plans this weekend, of course, they more than likely will be open. We encourage you to go down there and visit that exhibition. Yes. So we keep it going, and we will bring our guests in a couple of seconds. I see you lingering there in the back. Just give me a moment as I pull these up. Yes, because now we turn our attention over to, sorry about that. Cuba's central bank has announced the introduction of 2 new high-denomination banknotes. Yes, the 2,000 and 5,000 peso notes, and for the first time in the country's history, they will feature a woman. The 2,000 peso note will honor independence, and while the 5,000 pesos will feature voluntary revolutionary figure Celia Sanchez. Officials says that the new notes are being issued and to ease cash transactions among this ongoing inflation, with denominations valued at roughly $4 and $10 US. And just turning it over to the markets for today, international markets are mixed today as investors continue to track geopolitical tensions and rising energy prices. In the US, the S&P 500 edged up at 0.11%, while the NASDAQ composite gained 0.18%, and the Dow slipped at 0.013%. In Europe, Germany's DAX fell at a 0.56, while London's FTSE 100 rose at 0.069. Caribbean markets were steady today, with Jamaica Main Index posting mild declines, while activity on the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange remained light but stable. Here in the Cayman Islands, yes, we see where Caribbean Utilities Company shares rose 3.5% to $14.51, marking one of the day's strongest regional performers. The Cayman Islands Stock Exchange reports steady listing activity across investment funds and corporate debit programs, so underscoring Cayman's continued role as a leading international financial hub. That concludes our news update this evening. It is so good to be back with you this evening. Good evening, and welcome everyone. Hope everyone is having a good day. Let me just pull you in. I see you.
Hello, how are you, Sabrina?
Hi, you weren't supposed to be shown. Are you waiting for the other guest? Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, so we're waiting for Stuart.
Yes, I can hear you. You can hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, we are. I'll just send a little reminder.
Okay, not a problem. So I'll pull you out for a second, then we'll bring you back. There's Miss Tunisia Barnes. Happy birthday. Let's go out with the shout outs. Happy birthday as we wait for our guests to stroll on in. Yes, yes, yes. And you know what? Since we're here and we're waiting so that we can have this discussion, I got to let you know, because a lot of you are camping. Yes, I know, but I have to give a public service advisory notice. I saw this posted on for Water Authority. Yes, the Water Authority is advising motorists of planned roadworks on Shamrock Road this Saturday, the 5th of April, between 1 and 5:30 a.m. in the morning. Now, during that time, the eastbound lane between Poindexter Road and Cascade Drive will be closed, with traffic diverted through Poindexter. Warning signs will be posted in the area, and drivers are urged to proceed with caution to ensure the safety of both road users and Water Authority staff. So the Water Authority thanks the public for their patience and apologizes for any inconvenience closed. So please bear in mind that this Sunday, the 5th of April, between 1 a.m. and 5:30 a.m., during that time, the eastbound lane between Poindexter Road and Cascades Drive will be closed. And they're asking that all traffic be diverted through Poindexter. Warning signs will be posted in the area, and drivers are urged to proceed with caution to ensure the safety of all road users during this time. And you know, when you see those workmen out there, let's give them respect. I see you. Let's pull them in. There you go. See ya. Soon pull you in. You're there. As soon get to you. So yeah, there you have it. 9368255. We have some guests in studio this evening, and we're just going to be shining and putting the spotlight on a truly historic moment here in our Cayman Islands. And we're talking about the relocation of a nearly 200-year-old dwelling. It's a house that was owned by Miss Louiswise Louwellin. Yes, and that's a treasure piece of Caymanian craftsmanship and heritage as well. And that's being carefully moved to a new permanent home. Yes, but you know what? Don't let me take the wind out of the sail. I'm quite sure you've heard a lot about this. It is so happy to have two guests joining me here this evening to let us know what's in store. And if you want to make it a historical moment, just like how you guys went and looked up into the sky at that history in the making of that spaceship going to be orbiting the moon, maybe you may plan a family event to watch this. Without further ado, let me welcome my guest in studio this evening. That's Miss Tunisia. And there you go. Welcome, Mr. Wilson and Miss Tunisia. Welcome.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be on here, Sabrina.
I'm hoping everybody's hearing you fine. Let's go. Mr. Stuart, just give me you're hearing me fine?
Yep.
And I'm hoping that my guests are hearing you as well, all of those streaming. Yes. Well, it is a pleasure to have you here for the first time on the Sabrina Speaks platform from all of us. We appreciate you sharing this historic occasion with us, telling us logistically what's going on, because we know that it's just not one group of persons, but this must be a collaborative effort as we actually see history in the making with this relocation. OMG. Tell us more about it.
You're absolutely correct, Sabrina. It has taken us several months of planning. Several organizations such as CUC, FLO, the Police, National Trust, GT1, we've all come on board, as well as the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and Heritage, and the National Road Authority to make this happen. And we are so pleased to be preserving one of Cayman's, probably one of our most unique and iconic buildings that people cross there every single day, thousands of people.
Correct.
And as you rightfully said, it's been there for almost 200 years.
Special for me because
I was about to say, you grew up around the corner.
On the backside of Piccadilly, where you used to be Hobbes and Books, and behind Godfrey's.
Yeah,
that's where I raised up, right there on Elgin Avenue. So I used to sit on that porch and I used to steal her guineas too. Oh yeah, boy, they were sweet.
They were. Unfortunately, the guinea tree is no longer there. So I too ate one or two guineas from that tree. So I am sad to see it go as well.
OMG. Stuart, sorry, we're not just leaving you out. We're just time stamping ourselves. We just provided a timeline, our age.
That's absolutely fine. And the thing is, I never get tired of hearing stories about that home.
Oh, wow.
People sort of reminisce about that time in Caymanian history.
Yeah.
And there's so much information about Miss Louiswise Louwellin and her being such a prominent person in Georgetown. And, people always talk about her outside the house, waving at every car that went by. She was an organist in the church. And I think the home also served as what we know as a sort of boarding house, similar to Miss Tiddit's house.
Yes.
By the light there by Scranton, where when seamen and people from Cayman Brac and even Jamaica, whether it be reverends or different pastors for different churches, they would come, and that's where they would stay. And, the house is really served the community very well over the decades.
She's infamous for what they call quarters, the little China bump.
Yes,
and she had salt and pepper hair, and she would be sitting. You can't lop your leg tight like Wheeze. That's why I know her as Wheeze. She would lop that leg, and she would have one a washcloth over her shoulder, and then she would use that, of course, and she would be sitting there. What was I remember about Wheeze is that she never had a hammock. She had the hook.
Oh,
she had the hooks.
So true. Yeah.
She never had a hammock on that, but she had those I guess you would call it metal frame chairs that with the straps across it, the different color. She had about 4 of them there, and she had where she sat was looking at the house all the time. Now she would have been facing the house on the right side. Anybody who visited her sat on the
left.
2 chairs to the left, which would be close to Anderson Square. And then Alfred, Mr. Colmore, he's right next door.
Yes.
And, so I can remember the front porch being gray with the white railing around it. And I jumped a couple of times on them spring bread too, the front room.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. Wow.
The best chuppies and spinners. OMG. My aunts reminisce how they used to go to sweep out and clean her house for her just to get sour beef and beans. How good she cooked.
Wow, that is
just amazing. A little bit of nostalgia there.
Yeah.
So tell us, you're moving what I know as history. It's going to change the landscape there.
It is.
Oh my gosh, tell us more.
So when GT1 acquired the property, they reached out to the National Trust about donating the house to the Cayman Islands because they recognize the importance of this home and its role in the Cayman Islands. So we then spent the last few months trying to find a location for it. Pahi has generously donated the roundabout at the junction of Linford Pearson and Bobby Thompson to be used. So we will be moving the house at 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday during the weekend. So we're hoping that while people are camping
AM
island, AM, yes, because we don't want to disrupt the traffic as well. And so it's a joint effort. Stuart, this is the 3rd time the National Trust is moving this similar type of house, and we're using the same contractor we've used before. So I think about a week or 2 weeks ago, there was a lot of buzz in the community because they started to see the preparation work of the walls being boarded up, preparing it for the move ahead. So, we are excited about moving it. It's a team effort. Stuart has been so instrumental in this. I mean, I cannot thank him and the National Trust team enough. And, through it, Stuart and I, we've become kind of, I guess, kindred spirits during the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
We try to support each other as much as
Well,
possible.
the thing is, her role in the Ministry of Culture and what we do as the National Trust, really, it's parallel. And we can't do what we do without the assistance of the ministry. And they've really been a great partner. And it's these types of partnerships, whether it be public-private partnerships, that we're going to need to take advantage of in order to sort of affect these kinds of exercises. These houses are endangered. It's just like the blue iguana or the brown bat, endemic species from the Cayman Islands, are endangered. These houses are also endangered because the materials that are used to build them cannot be sourced anymore. The ironwood, which is an endemic species of wood that grows here in the Cayman Islands and forms the stilts and the columns, that can't be harvested anymore. And neither can the coral that is used in the wattle and dub. The coral, you have coral, sand, and limestone that's melted in a kiln to make wattle and dub, and you can't source the coral anymore. So these houses, we'll never see houses like this built again in the future. We can do models of them, and there are different types of wattle and dub that we can incorporate to sort of give us that aesthetic. But in terms of the actual essence of these homes, you will never see that again.
So it must be that's a huge task, because I see when I wear it's almost wrapped in plywood. That's to hold it together to avoid it from crumbling. Tell us logistically how this is going to all play out before it actually gets pulled out on the main road and make its way to its new destination, which I think I saw today coming home. There's a rough clearing out with like chip and spray.
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So I see where it's going to be, but tell us, what goes into preserving this and making that move.
That's a great question, Sabrina. And like you said, logistically, it can be quite complicated, because we have to make sure that we have the calculation of the house in terms of the weight, and so that we can, and the height, so that when we're traversing under some of the lines, say CUC lines and flow lines, that we don't cause too much disruption. Now, a lot of you see how the house is encapsulated there in the plywood. We've had to reinforce all of that around the actual structure. And then we have a welder on the site who's putting the steel beams below the house. What we're going to do then is use an 80-ton crane to hoist the house onto the back of a lowboy. And that then we'll start our journey. And so we're going to have CUC on hand, flow is going to be on hand, NRA,
the police,
yes. So we, it's really a group effort, and all the agencies involved have been stellar, nothing short of excellent. And so we are just so proud and so happy to be able to be doing such a historical move right now, because the house, like I say, was in imminent danger of being destroyed. But 1GT have been very gracious, and so we have them to thank as well.
Yeah, because once the property is sold, you really can't say what to do with it, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
But Tunisia is actually working on drafting some legislation that would protect these houses in situ. And that is something that we're working on together. National Trust submitted suggestions to Cabinet in 2022, and I think a lot of those suggestions, we had a think tank, and we really sort of thought it through. Down to the finest detail, the minutiae that people tend to overlook. We really dug down deep into it, and I think that those suggestions have, I think, informed some of what Tunisia might be doing in the coming months and years ahead.
Right.
So one of the ministry's goal is obviously, to preserve Caymanian culture and heritage, as well as this government's SBS as well. So to this end, Stuart is correct. We do lend as much support as possible to preserving items such as this lovely historic Caymanian home. And we are working on creating legislation to make, a little more robust than what we have now, in conjunction with the National Trust and other key stakeholders as well.
Now, there is roads that will be impacted, hence your reasoning for moving it in the wee hours of the morning. Will there be any, I know you said CUC, the RCIPS, maybe fire as well, but understanding that putting that structure on this trailer, that four-way junction by the cricket field, those lights going to have to be removed, I'm sure, right?
We've already talked to National Roads Authority, and they will be in sight. They'll be moving the arms. So we have actually taken that route several times. We have mapped it out, repeatedly. Like, it has taken us at least 4 months to get to this point. So a lot of teamwork has gone into this. Meetings up and down, driving the trail, talking about what needs to be done. And to your point as well, those street lights, we will be moving the arms. Hence, again, why we're doing it at the wee hours of the morning, to minimize the disruption to the public. So we hope that everything will be done and dusted by 6 o'clock when everyone works up and go on the road. There'll be very minimum disruption and damage. So fingers crossed we get it done quickly before everyone wakes up.
Exactly. I wonder if there will be any temporary power outages be necessary along the route.
No.
Nothing.
We're hoping not.
Not island-wide, it's just based on the area,
No. So again, those are all things we've taken into consideration, which is why CUC will be on hand. We're going to be moving extremely slow, delicately, making sure that everything we do is done with intention, lifting up the wires that need to be lifted up to minimize the disruption to the public.
Correct. Now, for what about those persons who may want to do it, come out and watch it? Would there be any advice that you would give to them, safe or preferred viewing locations?
What I should say about that, Sabrina, is that, people can come and watch, certainly at their own risk. This is not, I always try to stress when we're moving these that it's really not putting on a show per se.
Understood. I get you.
It's really a construction exercise that really requires safety and hazard concerns. And we would like for something, we don't tell the public not to, you can't tell people where to go and what not to do, but certainly we would encourage people to use their best
judgment
and come at their own risk. And
fair enough.
The window that we will be moving the house is not a precise site at this time, because it's contingent upon rain.
So many factors.
Weather.
It's true. It's true.
How the soil is whether the soil is wet or
whether it rains the night before, we don't know.
So it's difficult to say come at this time or come at that time. But there's a window between 12 and 5 in the morning where this thing is going to be transported to its new home.
Yeah, and talk about that. I caught a bit of your interview this morning in regards to some of the comments, and I saw the comments as well, exactly the one that you were referring to. I think it was Stuart, about someone saying, yeah, you're putting it there for them to run straight through it. When I saw the clearing, right, I'm like, I immediately called my aunt. I said, Stuart, or I think it Tunisia, said, that would be deliberate. I said, and I think I see where it's going to go, but now anybody go straight through that. That would honestly be deliberate almost, because of the clearing that I'm seeing.
We've got some classic, the classic drivers out there. I don't want to name any out by a particular car, but Honda Fit.
So once the house is put in location, we're also going to put cement barriers in front of it to help as an extra layer of security for the house.
But with the foliage and all of that greenery around it, it would be nestled there where it is. That should be a beautiful, because that roundabout is huge.
It
if
is
you
huge.
if you get that properly landscaped, preserving a lot of the natural vegetation that is already there, I can see that being so pretty
Yeah,
at
it's
Thank
the
going to
end.
be
you.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
It's going to be a real spectacle.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But safe as well, because it's
Mhm.
not in the line, it's not in the trajectory of where people would have to drive, or
Exactly.
sort of,
Mhm.
you won't have to, it's not going to change anyone's um,
Yeah,
decision
It's
making.
almost a drive-by if you're coming from Agape,
right.
but
Yeah,
you're actually going like a V if you coming from town, going to Agape, or
Yeah,
coming east, you're doing the wide Y. And
right.
if
So
you're
you can
coming
see
from
it, but it's
Agape
not a
trying to go
distraction.
east, exactly,
That's it.
exactly.
That's it.
and that
Wow.
angle was suggested by NRA. So after
Nice.
yeah. So consideration trajectories, as Stuart talked about, they picked it as that would be one of the best location on that roundabout to put a
Mm-hmm.
house.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the continuity of even preserving these, Stuart, we all know I've worked with NGOs. I have been a part of helping, promote different things. We know what challenges NGOs face.
Yeah.
When we look and saying that our culture, our heritage is being diluted, let's see what we can do. Let's see how aggressive we can to no longer demolish these things, but to preserve them. What would be one of the wish, knowing that you're in this position, that you would have moving forward for the future, so that we not only relocate, but it transitions into developing with time, that we don't lose who we are. If you get where I'm going.
It's a fantastic question, Sabrina. And what I would say to that is that ideally, I would like to see people incorporate this aesthetic into modern homes.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it doesn't have to be the entire design. It can be elements of from that time.
Mm-hmm.
Those people use certain colors as well. And I've often
Yeah.
thought about having a color scheme
Mm-hmm.
that is a Caymanian color scheme that we at the National Trust can promote. That's something I've thought about. And in fact, we've just come up with suggestions for the Central Planning Authority in terms of when people are building things in historic overlay zones,
Right.
or historic preservation overlays, as they're known now, that they will these are things that they'll have to do once they're building in those particular areas. One of them is Boggy Sand Road, and
Right.
another one is deeper into West Bay. And we're also lobbying for there to be more historic overlay zones
Nice.
map on, sort of designated.
Yeah.
Once we get more of that, more of those designated, we can then, sort that those guidelines and that style guide
Yeah.
we've proffered to the planning tribunal, the Plan Cayman Tribunal, that then will serve as a guide and reference for exactly what people should do if they're building something in those areas.
It's almost like a national recommendation to give elements of who we are, because right now,
100%.
Stuart, I gotta be honest with you, we were speaking on an earlier episode a couple of months back where everything is going white or cream, even when you're looking, because it represents more posh, more expense, whereas splash of color here and there. Actually, when you look at the experts now, they say it cheapens a place, but you gotta wonder, are we a metropolitan place or are we a tropical island? It's interesting that you said the splash of color.
Yeah,
Because we're going all glam.
Yeah, of course. And certainly in these historic overlay zones, we would want to see some of the traditional colors used. And that's a part of the style guide that we submitted to the Plan Cayman Tribunal.
Right.
So that, it's a work in progress. But the great thing about it is that this is an idea that people are waking up to. And with the young people are interested in national pride.
Nice.
Our flag was out at the Super Bowl the other day, and people are. It's in Cayman pride is in the air.
Yeah.
And I think that people want to see these types of things happening. And it's I feel privileged to be somebody involved in this kind of work
Right.
at this particular point in time, because it's such an inflection period for the Caymanian sort of sort of national pride and symbolism and all the things that we stand for. And,
Yeah.
and the traditional Caymanian house is a huge part of that.
Of course.
And building upon that too, Sabrina, the ministry will be launching next month as Heritage Month. So I'll be back on the show with that. So two years ago, we brought back Emancipation Day, and we've expanded that now to incorporate an entire month of cultural and historic activities. So I look forward to coming back on your show and talking a bit more about that and sharing the calendar of events, because it's going to be a really packed action month of May, where people can come out, encourage and celebrate Caymanian culture and heritage.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Now, just as a recap, unless there's something you want to say, I know that you're all, I follow your pages, National Trust. And a little thing that on a post I try to share it, because we're trying to make sure that we keep not only just about what's happening around the world, because we're all connected some way, somehow. Today's episode will actually show how we're all connected, even if you're trying to orbit the moon. But when it even comes down to preserving structures like this, getting people involved, the public support is huge. And the works of the National Trust in itself, Stuart, is in collaboration with the ministry, but individuals have a part to play as well. What public appeal would you like to make today?
Well, I would say, I think a lot of people think that the National Trust is a government entity. Because of the name, or either that or they think it's a bank when they hear the word trust. But yeah, so we have certainly our work cut out for us in terms of trying to educate the public that we're actually a non-governmental, not-for-profit organization. We're essentially a charity, and we rely heavily on the donations of the private sector, the government. And wherever we can get assistance, we really, we really need it, because we have a heritage fund that people can support and donate to and help with the restoration and maintenance of these old time houses, because the atrophy on these old 200-300-year-old structures is supernatural. Whether it needs painting regularly, or it needs washed, it needs to be insured. They have to be insured. It may need roofs, needs to be changed. And we, as the National Trust, we have 12 properties that we're responsible for, and Fort George is another one. And a lot of people don't know that Fort George is where the Emancipation Proclamation was read out in 1834. And we, on every Emancipation Day now, since last year, our program introduced an actual reenactment of that reading there at the site. And so all of these types of things, but we always are appealing to the public for that support, because like I say, we are a non-profit, non-governmental organization. We rely on our donors to make it happen,
Right. Wow. And Tunisia, I'm quite sure, not speaking on behalf of any government, because we don't want to handcuff anybody, but when you look at these participation, you see exactly what you're trying to do with culture. In my humble opinion, hint, indirect, it would be silly not to partner. This is where the definition of private-public partnership comes into play, because it's for one common goal.
Yeah, we have been working quite well with the National Trust. We do bring them to the table quite a bit for consultancy work, and they also reciprocate as well. And a side note, I am a lifetime member of the National Trust, so I encourage people to join.
We couldn't do what we do without Tunisia and the ministry.
Wow, yes.
And I want to shout out the minister too, Mr. Isaac Rankin, the Honorable Isaac.
As well as preserving Caymanian culture and the Caymanian identity is one of the priorities of the government. So, it would be remiss of us if we did not participate in events like this. So, at this point, I would encourage the public to, get memberships. It's great birthday and Christmas presents as well for people getting a membership to the National Trust. And then also they can advocate to save it in different historical sites in their community. So each district has their own National Trust committee. So I'm on the Georgetown committee because I live in town, But again, depending on what district you live in, you can join that one.
Join the committees and come in and be a member of the National Trust, and help us to maintain that national pride and continue to protect what we love, whether it be the traditional Caymanian houses, or the blue iguana, the parrots. We have a parrot reserve in Cayman Brac, and it's the list goes on, and a lot of folks don't know. I mean, there's so much about Cayman people don't know, because we have more endemic species here than even the Galapagos.
Stuart, you hit a nail on the head there, because they're finding flowers even on the side of the stable thing there are new discoveries almost every day.
Yes. That's why we have to be good stewards of our natural environment, as well as our history, because it's so unique. It's this stuff you don't find anywhere else on the planet.
But look, it still comes down to, yes, we can't halt on development. It is what it is, because people sell their place. You can't tell people what to do, so to speak. We can do what we can to try to be the gatekeepers in preserving certain things.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, this is where development is critical. It's not that you're telling people what to do on their property, but you have said so much right there that when you compare us to the Galapagos and what we're finding in Cayman, if we continue to meet in platforms like this, talk about what makes us unique in so many other ways, maybe people owning these properties, not understanding the connection, the culture, who we are as a people, they would have a little bit more respect before just putting excavator in there to put cement structures. You see what I'm saying?
There's certainly a balance to strike. And I think that, the work that we're trying to do is really trying to define what that thin line is. We're trying to really define for people and make it practical for people, because we're not necessarily anti-development either.
Understood.
But we want to see, we're for responsible development. And, like I said, here we've got ironwood, silver thatch, brown bat, Caymanite. The list goes on and on and on.
I think we don't talk about it enough. White's taken for granted.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, Sabrina, that's why we created Heritage Month, to have more opportunities to talk about and celebrate Cayman's culture. Because as you said, as people become more aware of our culture, our uniqueness, then they're more willing to preserve it and understand the role that it plays. So
just like you're doing, just like what you're doing with Wee's house. That's why I used to call her Wee's. And I really hope, Stuart, that you take Miss Brenda's offer up and you reach out to some of her family to really, because you hear it's Louiswise Louwellin house. They named the road after her. But really, for all that she's done, the role that she played, little is known of her. It's just captured in memories of interaction. And I was able to share that with you only because it's personal. I was a kid in her yard, and she used to come down to my grandmother's. Some stories I would even be able to share on this out of respect, but she had a sense of humor.
One of the things we might be able to do, Sabrina, is put a sign there where we have the house that tells people a bit more about her. That might be something that we can do. I mean, it's something to think
or
about.
A little plaque or something.
I certainly don't. I am conscious of the fact that we don't want to distract the drivers necessarily.
Understood.
And the house itself is like I say, it is an eyeful. So maybe we might put something like that on the register, on the heritage register, where people can go and source.
It can join the scan that you all have done of the house. So prior to being boarded up, Sabrina, the National Trust did a scan of the inside of the house, which allows people to walk through it using technology.
Good. 3D rendering. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Well, for a recap for those just joining us, because we do have people to jump on, jump off, come join us at different times. And of course, this is going to be in our virtual space forever. And as people head into the weekend, they will come on a little later. So don't take this for granted. People are listening, they're watching, they're hearing, they'll join us at different times. Let people know exactly what's in store for this so that we can close any gaps, dispel any mischief, and just get the facts out there?
Well, we're moving this house on Tuesday morning. It's a traditional Caymanian house. It's nearly 200 years old. It was built by Gifford Anderson and lived in by several people. The house's history is one in Georgetown that's very prominent.
Yes.
And these structures need to be saved. I think Tunisia can probably add to that as well. Tunisia?
I mean, there's not much more I can add to, just that, the ministry as well as the government preserving Caymanian culture and heritage is one of our key priorities. And so we're excited to be partnering with National Trust, CUC, FLO, NRA, GT1, to preserve this home and for future generations to celebrate the ingenuity and the resourcefulness of our Caymanian culture and men and women. So we're happy to be on board.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your weekend. Now you're officially released to go and work. And I wish you a blessed and safe Easter for wherever you end up, whether you're glamping or camping or working. You got a friend. What's their name? His or her name?
Hazel.
Oh, what a beauty. Hey, Hazel. You made your debut. Hi, Hazel. Hi.
Here's her name.
There we go. Yes, you can see I'm a dog lover. Thank you so much for taking time out and coming on to Sabrina Speaks to tell us about this historic moment. And we'll definitely look out for the pictures and the updates. Tunisia, I'm looking forward to as we continue this dialogue and we continue to elevate and grow this space and preserving who we are, making people know who we are. There is culture. It's not being diluted. It's not dead. We're going to keep it alive. Stuart, thank you for all that you do on behalf of all of us here in the National Trust. We thank you for all of the work and services that you do. And we hope that people will have an interest and you will see persons, displaying more interest to know more about your organization and be a part. And that's the only how we're going to do this together. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule today to join us here.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Thanks for having us, Sabrina.
It is a pleasure. Be safe. Happy
Take
Easter.
care. Have a great Easter.
Happy Easter. Bye.
Likewise. Bye. Well, there you have it. As we wrap up that conversation, we remind, we're reminded that Cayman's culture is still being written. Yes, I want to thank Ms. Tunisia and Mr. Stuart Wilson from the National Trust for joining us this evening, because yes, that is a fact. Cayman story is still being written because there's still so much we don't know about we's, and not just in our buildings, but also our roads. But the choices we make about, what we carry forward is huge for us. And the relocation of Miss Louiswise Louwellin House is more than a construction project. You hear it right there. This is a moment where development, preservation, and our history, our culture, all meet at the same crossroads, and hence how fitting where it's being relocated in a roundabout, which says it does not end. No, a roundabout or history or culture does not have an end. And it shows us that progress doesn't have to be erased, and it doesn't have to erase our past. It can be protected. We can elevate it, and we can definitely give it new life. In this case, we're not only giving it new life, we're giving it a new home. But, it also reminds us of something deeper, because when the details of our history are pretty much go unrecorded, like some of the stories about we's, when names and stories fade, the gaps don't stay empty. Yeah, they get filled with anything and everything that doesn't belong to us. And that is why, my friends, preserving our heritage, getting accurate information, and internationally gives us that respect, oh yes, is essential to preserving who we are. So tonight I want to say thank you again to Ms. Tunisia Barnes from the Ministry of Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, and also to Mr. Stuart Wilson from the National Trust, and to every agency and every hand that helped making this historic move possible that will take place in the wee hours of Sunday morning. Please note, it is a construction move. So even though it's not a show, we know how Otanas are. For those, for your, we want to just say thank you, because your work, everyone that plays a part in this, all the agencies, ensures that Cayman's identity isn't left out, or it's not left to guesswork, that it's really, really grounded in truth and memory and, a lived experience to our people. So, yep, if you're going to stay up and watch that move or whatever it happens. I know Rena's in the forecast, but we keep our fingers crossed that all goes well. Yes, to all of you who are joining us, Miss Melita, you are something else, Yeah, I used to steal Gannett's newsberries too, because Miss Cynthia Sterling's house was right in the footprint of where Piccadilly is right now. Miss Cynthia Sterling house was there, and Uncle Sterling. And there was a big chalamello tree. There's a Gannett tree right now in the front of my grandmother's place, that entrance to my grandmother's house that still exists today. So that place was loaded with star apples, sour sops, sweet sops, the hog plums, those yellow plums, and the red plum trees. Yeah, I can remember cutting through there, Miss Cynthia Sterling house, footpath, go through and steal the Gannetts. And then we used to go swimming. I used to go swimming with her on Sunday mornings. That was a tradition for me out in Hogstype. Yeah, this was really good for me. It brought me back a lot of childhood memories. And I want to, again, thank everyone for their service and the owners of the property. Thank you for allowing them to preserve this part of who we are. And I'm hoping that our young people moving forward in the future will have the respect and get to know exactly where we're coming from. And also the story that goes along with that as well. Yeah, so it is right here. Welcome again to one and all. Wasoka saying, I think it's Louwellin. Only Alfred's house left in that area, I believe. Alfred house is still there, and the one across that is already owned by Culture. Oh gosh, there's a pink one across from Alfred too. Alfred, Miss Hinred, no, not Miss Hinretta. Walsham Conley. Mommy's house is still there as well, in between Alfred and the footpath, Stoker. Those are still there, but that was refurbished. Yeah, I used to go there and get popsicles because where part of the parking lot is for Piccadilly right now, Soka, that used to be Mr. Ted Harris' house. Austin Harris and them right there. That's where they raised up. And the houses were all pretty much the same, with the nice front porch, similar to Miss Wee's house. Very similar, but they had a swing on their front porch. That was funny how Wee's never had a swing. I know. Yeah, that's a little bit of history there. That tree's still there. Yeah, the Gannett tree in between the Latter-day Saints Church now and Piccadilly is still there, and she be loaded with Gannetts. And hey, Abby, how you doing? Yeah, she be loaded with Gannetts, but now I heard because of the new footprint of whatever plans, the new owners of the property where Wee's house used to be, or will soon used to be, they took that down. And I guess maybe that's a part of the move as well. So I don't know. Let's see. So sad that people don't think to save the fruit trees when they were building. Same with the land behind my grandmother's house. Chop them all down without a thought. Shaking my head. Don't think I had a rose apple since. What happened though, I gotta be honest with you, Soka, what happened down by my grandmother's in Georgia, and then when they were building Piccadilly, and I remember this like it was yesterday, the elevator shaft, they had to use the deep drill, and our saltwater table is high. Let me tell you something. All of that water from the construction of Piccadilly that came up when they were doing that elevator shaft flowed to the back, down by my grandmother's and all down by Miss Gladys Piercy and all of them. And it killed every fruit tree, including the long neck pears, the trees that were in my grandmother's yard. Everything turned. You would have sworn you had thrown diesel or like a fire had gone through. Everything died when that building was being constructed and they were digging the thing for the elevator shaft. And that was it. All the plum tree that was behind the Gannett tree and everything, they died. They never, ever came back. And it was sad. But again, that's the cost of development. Yes. Melita says, yes. with the beautiful aca trees. Oh yes, there is still one little aca tree right there now, Stoka, by that Gannett tree. There's one aca tree left. There was civil orange, there was lime tree, there was, like I said, chalamel. Oh God, the chalamellos are sour, but yeah. But the amount of these berries, yes, these berry trees, breadfruit. Oh, all around that soil was rich, good. Anything my grandmother would throw aside the path, they would catch in no time. And yeah, that was the beginning and the end when they developed that. And yeah, that's the fact, Soka. That's the fact. So it couldn't even say, oh, it was in the footprint of the building alone. Anything that's around that, because my grandmother's house is still there. That's the fact of what happened there. Abby said, at least they saved the mango tree with the new roundabout at Agrigola in Lower Valley. Thank God for that. But yeah, Soka, that's a fact. So poor you. I understand the feeling. To this day, Georgia, Elsme, we all feel it. And we can just watch it. And Greta, Nicholas, Miss Grace, and them down in the back. Everything has changed as development comes in the area. All of the fruit trees and stuff just eventually die. In Miss Janice, the back of Miss Janice's house, there's still 1 or 2 breadfruit trees and Neesberry. And Uncle Niels tried to catch back his, but of course, he's getting a little older now in that square of Elgin Avenue. But it's not very much fruit trees and vegetables in that area anymore because of development. Yep, that's a fact, my love. So yes, it is what it is. Yes, what a crying shame. That's the cost of development, And I'm hoping that with the work of the ministry now that we will have certain things placed in legislation, even if it's for structures, that we will have elements that will be considered or recommended for future developments. But I guess there's very little you can do when it comes to significant fruit trees and fruit bearing trees and different things. But it's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. We've planted 100 seasoning pepper plants this week. Oh, nice. Yeah, I tried to catch one. She caught, but oh Lord, she's gone south. So I'll try it again because I think my aunt Eric picked up some seasoned peppers. So I'm going to try to catch some out of the seeds, some seeds that I have right now, Abby. So I'll let you know how that adventure goes. Ornamentals is the only thing that survives with me. But again, like I said, for those of you, I just want to acknowledge that it is Holy Thursday. Tomorrow is Good Friday. It is one of the most sacred holidays that is observed around the world. Yes. And, it is rooted in humanity and service. And it really, for those of you who may have missed the intro and came on at this point, it marks the moment where Jesus washed the feet of his disciples and shared a final meal with them. Not to show power. Please don't misunderstand that if you don't know the Bible story behind it, but to show love, to show humility. Yeah. And in simple terms, it is that Holy Thursday is a reminder to pause, to check our hearts. Yes. And to ask how we're treating each other. It's a call to compassion, community, and also care. Yeah. Chalamellas, I love them. Live in Banaka. I used to take a little dory over to the island all by myself and to get my belly full of them. I often wondered how I was able to go as a little girl to the island. Someone told me because it was safe in those days. Oh, wow. Ms. Melita says, so you and Auntie was brought up pretty much in the same. Yeah, pretty much. Yes, Melita. Right there. After this show right now, I'm going straight down there. That's tradition. And our family may not be big, but we are still very close. And that is still central for us, quite similar to what Stuart was explaining that Wee's house was in the earlier days. My grandmother's house still there to a lot of Kim and Brackers, because she was from Spot Bay, my grandmother, And a lot of the persons from the BRAC would come down because of her being strategically in the center of town. If they either had a doctor's visit, or them days it were Kirk Plaza, by right, Bodens. Remember, we had all of the stores out there in town, by right, Kirk Plaza, Comart. And we had Bata out in town at one point as well. And they used to come there. The hospital is right there. So they used to come, leave their stuff there, and go and do their shopping and stuff. Many of them, if they were spending one night or two. It's amazing that house, the size of it, now that I'm a grown adult, how much people used to actually stay with my grandmother's. And that's what it was known for. She had a huge almond tree round the back and a caboose. And that used to have a coconut tree and a hammock from the almond tree to the coconut tree. And I can remember swinging in that. Even there's a pomegranate tree as well too there. And that house but my grandmother's house was a safety net and a resting place for a lot of the people from the BRAC. Louise was a little older than my grandmother's house, but I raised up knowing this because of where that is. Oh yeah, Comart and salt beef. You go down in the back and you would ask for how much pounds of salt beef. They would put on there, open up those 5-gallon crates and stick their hand out of sight in that bucket. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're going back to the days. Yes. But as we wind up and wind down and we go into this very sacred weekend, wherever you're choosing, however you're choosing to celebrate Easter, we just want to give thanks. We have so much to be thankful for. And with everything that's happening around the world, we just really, as an island nation, small island as we are, we just have so much to honestly be thankful for. There's so much good around us, that I think sometimes we take it for granted. Despite everything that's happening, look at us of what we're doing with preserving our culture, and we go out and we're camping or whatever you decide to do, however you're going to deal with it this weekend. And it takes us as the foundation of our home to keep these traditions alive. Yes. Just like we're making history in when it comes to this launch. And, we have so much to be thankful for. So much. Mama Lita's saying, you're welcome, Miss Dorothy. I remember shopping at Bayreuth and an earthquake happened and Scotia building was shaking. Oh, really? Back then? Oh my gosh. Yes. I can see a little girl at the house, that jewel in your dear. Aw, thank you so much. Yeah. Let me tell you something, going back those days, I can never, and I speak about it so that you can actually have a picture in your head because it's that clear in my memory. I'm so happy for having the life that I had. And George Sims, my grandfather, did a stellar of a job despite him being my grandfather. He did a stellar job when it comes to having that father figure role in my life. I did not miss a biological father. And for all of the men that have been in my life to be a part of my upbringing, strong women around that area, just name it, Soka. I was surrounded. Tell me now how I could have get away with murder, which is why probably I'm so sheltered. My grandmother, Synovia Sims. Miss Genuela was right in the front. Remember the little house right in the front behind Latter-day Saints? Then I had Miss Louiswise Louwellin in Haha. Yeah, I had them. I had Miss Gladys Piercy. Yes, in behind. I had Miss Janice on the other part. I had Miss Grace down in the back. Yeah, Miss Maudie up the road. And the lady on the front porch, Shelma, to kill me, because I do remember her name. The front of the police. When you look at the matriarchs that were in that area, Miss Essie, right there, tell me now if that wasn't a vault. Young girls couldn't get away with anything. And Mr. Walsham calling the mother right there. That was all that little area. These were strong women of that area that was a part of who I have become. And the men themselves as well. Mr. Ashley, Mr. Nicky, Uncle Niels, Haha, Mr. Colmore, the Alfred Daddy. These are all solid, Mr. Melagorin. All of them right there in that little square. Yes, they are. Yeah, Miss Flory. Miss Flory. Yes, I should call. Thank you. I tell you, she could kill me. Miss Flory.
I have to tell you, but I now call out my brother's birthday.
But because, hold on. No, because I got. Go ahead.
It's Miss Flora Tap, and you're forgetting Miss Kipper were right there too.
Yep.
And Miss Allegorin and them were right there too.
I will. Thank you, Miss Belita. Yep. Yes, your brother, Miss Shelma. Well, give him his 84 today. Miss Shelma is celebrating her brother's birthday.
Jeremy Bush.
Go ahead.
Jeremy Bush. And he's in Banaka, and I wish he's my mother oldest child, and I wish him 84 more. If he live long as my mother, he gonna make it. And if he live long as my grandmother, he gonna make it.
Yeah. So from all of us here in the Cayman Islands, Jeremy Bush, 84th birthday is today. Lots of love, hugs, and kisses from your sister, Miss Shelma. And we're sending you a lot of Sabrina Speaks love as well. Many, many more.
And he now born April Fool, but yesterday was Billary Aunt Rita Nell, while she was Blanca Nieva. She would have been 76 yesterday. She had a little April Fool, but she used to say she born the 31st of March. But I didn't want to say that April Fool she born. She died. She was 67. She died in 2000. She born in 50. She died in 2017.
Okay. Well,
we call today's yesterday was Tom Fool, and today's Tail Day.
Pin the tail day. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a mess.
Pin the tail on the donkey. We used to have them, the birds with a little piece of cloth, and when people were coughing, we stick it on them.
Yeah, it's true. They got plenty of those in school.
Then I remember Fool, we used to catch Fool with Fred. He was a clown at the airport, and we sent him with this note. One time we sent it to Mr. Anton, and Mr. Anton said, send the Fool a little further.
There we go.
And then they had him on, and then tell somebody, say, well, Fred, you know to this Tom Fool, and then he said, them sons of bitches. He used to catch the Fool.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
I just call him Mazer Wilfred, and say, when Anton tell him, he said, send the Fool a little further, but he still never catch it. Anyway, I'm busy. I feed my husband.
All right, my love. Okay, bye. There you go. One and only. The one, the only Shelma. Gotta love her. Gotta love her. You gotta love her. So yeah, I don't know if you guys shared or you saw, or maybe you've seen it today in regards to the first crew that mission is on this 10-day travel towards the moon. And this is the first time in about 50 years. And this is the first time, guess what, that humans will actually venture far enough to switch communications to deep space network. Can you imagine? Something that we haven't even seen since the Apollo era. Yeah. So, they're going to be traveling thousands of miles beyond the moon, they're setting records and giving humanity its first real-time view of the moon's far side from human eyes in generations. I kind of didn't think about it until this launch took place. Yeah. Why we only see one side of the moon? And of course, you know me, digging. I swear to Christ, I'm like Dora the Explorer in Nancy Drew. I kept digging. I honestly kept digging. Yeah, she's back, Miss Melita. She's back. They're back. Thank God. But that is a question that they're asking, why? And it was simple that I actually felt silly because if you didn't pay attention in science class, right? They always say that the moon is connected with the tides, right? The moon is spinning, but it spins exactly at the same speed that orbits Earth. So you will never see every second that the Earth spins, the moon is spinning with it. So guess what? You'll never see its back. Imagine walking in a circle, like I said at the beginning. Yes. And every time you try to get that person keeps moving with you. You'll never see what's in the back of that individual. That is the same thing the moon does. And this expedition, my friends, they're going to go around it before coming back to Earth. And it is expected that this is going to take 10 days. Yeah. So really that example, that's the moon. And it's called the tidal locking. Hence today's flyer, if you saw how I promoted the show. So the far side isn't dark, right? What scientists are predicting. It's just a side that we never really get to see from here on Earth, which begs the question, really, what's going on the other side? But guess what? All goes well. Artemis 2 will see it. These guys and technology, they're going to see it. And they're going to bring back the images and the information and the insights that pretty much is going to deepen our understanding of our closest neighbor in space, and that's the moon. Yeah. So if you've ever wondered, or if you've never even thought about it till now, yeah. So they're going to see, it will be interesting to really see in this day of age with technology, how the backside of the moon would look. That is going to be interesting. Denver, we only see one side of the moon because of the rotation. Yes, you're quite right. You pass. You got an A, Denver. Hey. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting in this day of age and all the technology. And that must be something very special for them who are seeing it for the first time. And they're going to be given that task of sharing that with us, praying all goes well with them for that. And they share some beautiful images when they come back. And, you know, it is interesting because how it all comes together with the rain and the tide, and for all of you people who believes in this energy and being, you know, grounded with Mother Earth. The older I get, the more and more I'm getting connected with that reality. Because I used to hear my grandmother, oh God, I got timeline myself again. The other night, I just felt both of my knees, that must be a Sims thing. Both of my knees started hurting. So help me God. Oh my God, they started hurting. And I had to call my aunt. I said, oh my God, they biting Georgia. I can't come out. I can't come out. And you know what? Rain was coming because the next day it rained. Is that age, or is it that we are really connected to the universe, the solar? Is it, you know, this is something, and it's only now that I'm in my 50s that I'm feeling all of these things. I guess we didn't really pay it any mind when we were younger, but there were things that our forefathers, our grandparents used to do, the older persons, that they didn't have all this technology where you tap it into Google and they would answer you. They really believed in bush medicine and the different times of the year and different cycles of the moon and all this sort of stuff. But I tell you what, if you're listening to your body, writers, yes, it's in Denver. Keep that to yourself. What about you? What about you? That's just a number. I'm in denial. But Denver, I tell you, I want to keep my eyes, Denver. It was burning. And I said, Georgia, even though you got 2 Mustangs on you now, boy, because she got her replaced. She got 2 Mustangs. But oh my God, it was horrible. But that is a Sims thing with the bow legs and the arthritic knees. But oh boy, the other night it was bad. It was bad. So I have to watch myself as well. But as we look at that, the connectivity and what's happening right above us right now, it's something amazing because yes, even atmospheric pressure affects you. Okay. And I think they're linking atmospheric pressure to migraine headaches as well, Denver. Yes, yes, yes. Here to welcome to our world, girl. What about yourself? You all in a separate bracket. I'm in denial. Babelita, when that beads hooked me, all I could do was call her. All I could do was call her. It was like reporting to mama. And of course, she said, I can't even laugh because I know what you're going through. But she got some new front end there, so she's good to go, tearing up the floor as best as she can. Mess with her, she's still bodo. Oh yeah, she need to get rid of that. So as we celebrate Holy Thursday and watch history unfolds, even in our atmosphere of the heavens, let's talk about something that's just as meaningful right here at home, because our tradition of camping on the beach every during Easter time is significant. And some of those who come and join us here may not understand what the heck is going on, because for generations, Caymanian families right here have packed up and headed to our shorelines and spend days, some going as much as 2 weeks now, because we're seeing where it's extended. And just reconnecting with each other, connecting with nature, with our heritage, and really just enjoying our beaches. And this isn't just a pastime. It is, in all honesty, our culture. This is who we are. This is our identity, right? And as more and more people join us on our beaches, Caymanians and residents, we still find ourselves fighting for beach access. And we ask for one thing. That's all we ask for. Caymanian residents and visitors, we're only asking for one thing, and that's respect. I think throughout every discussion that we've ever had, publicly, privately, that sometimes comes into a little bit of emotional anger because of what we're fighting to preserve, what we're fighting to keep. Respect our traditions. That's all we ask for. Respect the space. Respect the people who have fought to preserve and access to our shores. That's all we ask for. The 6 foot right away that we are just so fighting for right now, that's a crying shame. Even when you have hedging and that sort of stuff, who's holding these people accountable for us getting access to our own beaches? And yet it's this time of the year now where we're designated areas, or some of us resort to renting homes just to enjoy what really should come natural. We respect development with balance, as we spoke with our guest earlier on. But for those who doesn't understand where this is coming from, don't look down at us. We're not sleeping in thatch huts. That's where we come from. And even back then, some of us don't know what that is. Wattle and Daub, Miss Louiswise Louwellin house is where we coming. Even some, I don't know what it is to sleep on a plant and trash bed because of my age. I've been exposed or have witnessed and used 1, 2 outside toilets as well that were well kept. But what I'm saying is that's where we're coming from. And I'm not scared to talk about that. We see we're going back in history and speaking about it so fondly with pride, how so much of you share that. And yet sometimes it feels as though we're being exploited, that people just don't understand where we're coming from. And I feel that we got to make it known exactly who we are and wear it as a badge of honor, that this is who we are. And this is what we do during this time of the year. And we're fighting for the access, and kudos to every individual who has taken that up as a mantle to fight for a beach access. The first person that actually came to me in regards to the beach access that I'm aware of in my modern time that has been advocating for beach access is Miss Lucille Seymour. Say what you want about her. And she was getting the spots in Prospect identified. And then that led into other areas. And then now there's another campaign that's going on right now. And I applaud these ladies for all of their work. But there's a wider group of ladies as well from West Bay who challenged it. And I thank them as well. Because the song that comes back, Jack Don't Want Me to Bathe on My Beach, what is it going to take for us to really have something enshrined where that respect is not something that they feel they need to give us only a certain time of the year, but it's something that they know this is the rights of the people. You're not doing us a favor. That is a right. Yeah. So for those persons who may be visiting us because it's warmer, even though the weather is yucky right now, and you don't understand what's going on, this is what's happening. This is who we are. This is a part of our culture. You may not like to look out of your 4 or 3-story condominium complex and see tents, but this is who we are. And my only ask is of my people that when you actually leave these places, that you clean up after yourself, because we're known as a clean people as well. And if we're going to embrace this, embody this for what it is, be happy to really celebrate who we are during this season, I want the report to come back that every campsite is in immaculate condition after you have finished your camping. Because if we're saying we are proud Caymanians, this is what we're fighting for, we nanas the people. So I want you to make that extra care and effort this season and moving forward to make sure you dispose of all of your garbage. And when you leave those campsites, that it is something remarkable to report, because this is a reflection of who we are in Winanasta people. Well. Holy Thursday. Guess who is on the other end of the line? Good evening, my friend, and how are you?
Thus says the Lord.
Where have you been? Easter Bunny let you out?
No, there's no bunnies.
I don't. I'm just pulling your leg just to
But
get under
there
your
is
skin.
there is the word of God.
Talk to us.
Well, before I make any comments about that, I want to touch on the subject you were talking about with beach access.
Yeah.
You asked the question, what is it going to take? Well, it's going to take the government of the Cayman Islands respecting the laws of the Cayman Islands and registering those accesses that have been identified under the prescription law. But there's a resistance to do that by some in society. And you also made another comment about this beach is mine.
Jack Don't Want Me to Bathe on My Beach. That was a song that came to mind.
Well, if we don't stand up now and demand that the government respect the law and register those accesses as an indivisible right, then we are going to lose.
Danny, are you calling me straight or through WhatsApp?
Straight.
Okay, good. Because I want to add, Miss Melita is trying to get in on the conversation. So sorry. I just wanted to not get, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. There we go. Miss Melita, you're along with Mr. Denny.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Danny.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. you actually explain the reason for the camping? Not sure, because I want to explain it.
Say that. I didn't hear that well.
She wanted to
I'm
find out
not
whether or
sure.
not you were explaining the reason for camping because she didn't hear. She
Oh, no,
wanted to.
no. Oh, no. No. I was dealing with the legal side of it, what we need to do in order to preserve access to the beach, which
Okay.
is a
All right.
different thing from
All right. So
from what
you
you
can
want
deal
to
with that. You can deal with that side. But I just want to remind, just in case, I'm sure some people are not aware of the reasoning. All right. So the reason for earth camping and Easter goes back into history is for bonding, fishing, and teaching our children how to swim.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So remember now, we're not just out there hanging on top of the beach. We're there bonding with our families. We're fishing and we're teaching our children how to swim. Because when I was growing up, camping, I remember our parents used to camp. I don't know what happened. With the mango season, whatever. Something happened within the years. I used to do it. But our parents used to carry buckets of mangoes and throw in the ocean. And we used to have to dive, get the mangoes. So that would teach us how to swim and dive. All right? So,
you're bringing back memories.
hey, hello. So a lot of people do realize, the importance of camping for Caymanian people. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
do you think that we're going out there and hanging on top of the beach? No. We're bonding, we're fishing, we're teaching our children how to swim and dive.
Yep. Thank you for sharing that with us.
All right, baby.
All right,
So
my
then
love.
you can do the other side, baby.
Yeah. So now
Okay.
he's going to
Thank
tackle
you.
it into the beach access side.
So he can do the other side.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Welcome.
Go ahead, Danny.
So we find ourselves in a situation where we've had the previous government, which was EPM government, who was reluctant to go down the road and do the things that ought to have been done to preserve the beach access. And so they set up this committee that gives the appearance of doing something about the beach access.
Mm-hmm.
But as they say in government, when you want to kill something, you recommend that a committee be formed.
Committee. Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's
So-
what's stigmatized with it. Yeah. You want to kill it, put it in a committee.
So what we really need is for the people to apply the pressure to the government, reminding the government that we have these beach access as a right.
Mm-hmm.
And government, one of the responsibilities of government is to protect the right of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if you're not looking out for our right, then you're not even doing the basic function of government.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really important that we understand that the initiative isn't going to come from the political class. It's going to have to come from the public.
The citizens. Mm-hmm.
I often say that the only rights you have will be those that you defend. Everything else will be taken from you. And so when we look at places like Jamaica, where the beaches are, I don't know if there's actually any public beaches remaining in Jamaica, but I think for the vast majority of the
You got paid?
better sections,
Yeah. You got paid?
It's private.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to happen to Cayman. And let me tell you how it's going to happen to Cayman before it happens to Cayman. I hope it doesn't happen. But if we sit down and we just, pretend that we don't have a role to play, it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what will happen. The accesses to the beach, we will lose those rights because those rights will be ignored by government. and those rights will slowly disappear. Let me give you one example of how the current efforts are to destroy some of those beach access points.
Mm-hmm.
The DART Corporation wants to relocate the various beach accesses that's on the 7 Mile beach on the property that crosses the properties that they own.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to put it together and attach it to one side of the West Bay Public Beach, meaning
Like create a pad?
not well, I don't know specifically what they would do mechanistically, but in essence, from the public's perspective, the West Bay Public Beach would just simply become larger.
Oh.
But let me tell you what the problem with that is. It reduces the different points at which you can access the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll have some people who will, access one side of the beach and they'll walk the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
But most people are not going to do that. Most people will, say, pull up by the governor's house and the beach is right there and they go in the sea and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so if you eliminate the access points that are in the middle of the 7 Mile beach, it means that at some point in time in the future,
Mm-hmm.
the only way that you'll be able to access the 7 Mile beach is from either end of the 7 Mile beach.
Not directly like how we're doing it now.
Right. And as time goes by, that will then become the norm to future generations.
What?
And yes, well, when you were born, there were cars.
Yeah.
When my grandmother was born, there were no cars.
Right. Yeah, I
So
get you.
You had a different
Experience.
normal from my grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so what'll happen is slowly over time, it'll be taken from us. And it'll just be said, oh, well, we don't use that anymore. That was something they used to do.
Mm.
And there'll be all sorts of arguments about, why, when you buy a piece of land on 7 Mile Beach, why it should be yours and people shouldn't be able to just walk through it as they see fit.
Mm-hmm.
But I assure you that it'll be in small steps, but that doesn't mean you're not going to lose it. We are going to lose it unless we stand up. And what specifically needs to happen is not just signs placed at the location.
Mm-hmm.
The signs don't really mean anything.
It's not a deterrent
from
the bigger strand of things.
From a legal perspective,
Mm-hmm.
a sign doesn't say anything about the ownership or right of
Gotcha.
of it. It's just saying that, hey, somebody believes you can access the beach at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But unless the government registers those beach access points,
right,
as saying these are beach access, recognizing the right under the prescription law that this has been the practice forever,
mm-hmm.
and therefore should remain. Unless that is legally done,
Mm-hmm.
you will have future politicians and future citizens who won't really appreciate or even understand
Mm-hmm.
how we're able to access the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and it will go away.
Wow.
Nobody's going to come in and no grand sweep of things and just take it all away from us. Let me give you another example of how it'll be. You see the fight that's going on with the what is it?
The Straits of
Dora's
Hormuz.
Beach.
Oh, sorry, Dora's Beach. Red spot. Red spot.
Yeah, that's what I call it, but other people call it Dora's Beach.
Mm-hmm. Fisherman's
Very
Beach. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a prescriptive right that's on that property as well. Now, the owner wants to do something legally with it, so he's in court over that. But there are different situations with different parcels of land. So that one has some controversy associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the most of the 6-foot areas, some of them are controversial, some of them are not.
Right.
But Mr. Billy Adam had collected a bunch. I think it was, the number was like 500 affidavits.
Mm-hmm.
About beach access. And the purpose of an affidavit is to collect facts about something.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the tricks that the government was playing with the beach access in the past was that they were trying to get Billy Adam to do over the affidavits.
Mm.
Now you have to understand how sinister that is. Let me explain. The purpose of an affidavit is to establish a fact. And facts don't change. So the need to do over an affidavit is nothing short of malicious.
Mm-hmm.
Especially where some of the people who wrote the affidavits are now passed away.
So what would
if you were to be as naive as the government wants you to be, and say, "Oh yeah, okay, we'll redo the facts," then you'll find out that you'll have a lot less affidavits because many of those people are gone.
Yeah.
But there's no need to do that because the truth that was established when they were alive is still the truth today.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no need to redo the affidavit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but all sorts of little slick measures are being used to trick us out of it. You know, like how someone in the Bible sold their inheritance for a bowl of porridge.
Mm-hmm.
They were fooled. And the Caymanian people shouldn't allow themselves to be fooled on this subject. Because what we think of as just going to the beach, very simple concept, is something that has a lot of benefits for us generally as a people.
Mm-hmm.
And we shouldn't fail to remember how important it is to us.
Correct.
And therefore we should fight to keep it. Perhaps one of the things that you could do is have Mr. Billy Adam and the ladies in West Bay and all of the other persons who've participated in this effort over time come on your show and let's have a conversation about it so that the public can gain a proper understanding.
Yeah. Maybe now the time is right.
You were talking about the moan and the tide.
Mm-hmm.
I've explained on your show before that what we call the high water mark along the beach is determined by the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And so twice a year you get what is called a king tide, where you have these extreme tides.
Mm-hmm.
That is what measures the upper and lower boundaries of what is called a high and low water mark. And those it used to be fixed as in a specific location, but what happened over time is that they got it changed to the vegetation line. And then you can take and you can chop down vegetation, right?
Yeah.
Or you could grow vegetation so it goes further down the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So all sorts of games been played with this subject. But make no mistake about it, it's an effort to take the freely free access
Mm-hmm.
to the public beach from us. And when we lose it, I'm afraid we'll appreciate what we had.
Yeah. Like the
So
Vision
I would like,
2008 talk.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to encourage you to have a program in which we have a discussion about
With those individuals.
and not let the government control the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if government wants to be a part of the conversation, fine.
Yeah.
But
But
it needs to be an open conversation. Right? So
Danny, there's a question from Live Happy. It says, question, Danny, why do Americans have the obsession with having the beach for yourselves come? Where does that come from? Is what the question is being asked.
well, because their reality is different from ours. Other places don't have that, in every place, don't have the same access. Now, Florida did something different, I think. I don't remember what they did a few years ago. I would have to look it up before I speak to it.
Mm-hmm.
But what we have is something that is not normal throughout the world. You have to understand that. So when people come here, they come here bringing their culture and their
Mm-hmm.
view of business and property. Like, so if you think about the Constitution of the Cayman Islands, it recognizes the freedom to own property,
Right. Correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, there are some people who take that freedom more seriously than others.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and so for them, the beach access is like gold, because if you invest in a business that's on the beach, you have to understand that that is a mechanism by which they, as business people, there's no better instrument that you could put your money in, except there's this new thing on the horizon called Bitcoin. But outside of that, there's real estate. And so if you have a business on the beach, what you have is an opportunity to receive a level of income that outpaces inflation.
Right.
And so, and in other words, you can increase your prosperity by owning that valuable real estate.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine that. The reason many Caymanians were selling off their beach land is because, well, you don't plant yam or cassava in
I've
the
heard some
sand,
stories. Correct.
right? So, but think about that. They've taken what we discarded and turned it into gold.
Yes. Yeah.
And so there's some lessons that we need to learn about business. And unfortunately, the system is designed in such a way to keep us from having conversations that would help generally the Cayman population to understand this.
You're quite right.
And let me tell you where it begins. You know, like when you think of businesses go into the schools and talk to our young people about, you know, work and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be really careful with that. When you walk into a bank and you see this sign about promoting having your kids getting a bank account, that's
Student
not
favors
for your children's benefit. Okay, that is luring prey in so that they could be used as a vehicle through which revenue for the bank would be ensured. And so their goal is to promote and expand their business and make it more profitable. As a people, we need to understand that banks are legitimate businesses and it's fine to have a bank, but you need to understand what the risks are with banks.
Right.
And you need to make sure that your children understand the hidden risk of inflation. Inflation isn't that 2.5% or 3% that you hear them talking about with CPI. It's much worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely hidden from people. And people talk about it all the time, even though they don't think
and they don't understand what they're talking about. They're talking about it, but they don't even understand. Uh-huh.
I work 2 jobs and I can't get ahead.
Inflation.
Mm-hmm. And so
that's why the $5 not giving me the distance anymore that it used to give me. Inflation.
Well, think about all of the things that the Cayman Islands government has thought that it is great to implement for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a situation where I could remember a time when you put money in the bank and you could get interest on it, and it was significant.
Now it's in reverse. You're not getting anything.
Now you're paying the bank to have your money.
Yeah, it's
there.
in reverse. It's in reverse.
Yeah, and so you have to ask yourself, how do you get out of that? Well, that's another subject.
Definitely, because we're at the top of the hour.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Well, thank you. Welcome back. It's good to hear your voice. Good to have you back on the platform. We got you and Shelma. Wow, must be the season.
Well, I want to say one thing about the season. Remember that this is about the passion of Christ.
Yes.
And what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He died in our place.
Correct.
Where we should have died, he died for us. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much. Take care. All the best, my dear. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, we have a lot of comments that were coming in, and I tried to post them as quickly as we saw them. As Anita says, the government of the day shouldn't have allowed the West Bay Road to be moved. And like I said, Miss Anita also said, as we reminisced about Easter, she said, Sabrina, this Easter camping is a fairly new tradition. It wasn't around back in my younger days. I just remembered on Easter Monday, us as South Sounders going out to Little Key for a picnic, and we would collect wilks and dive up conch and cook them in a big pot and go along with the items that we brought, such as breadfruit, of course, limes and salt for the scald conch. Yeah, boy, that brings back memory. Definitely. Tartarian says, and I'm jumping here, I met a tourist, an American, that said she never saw the real sea in her life until she took a cruise. She said she was shocked. There was so much water in the world. Oh, dear Jesus. Okay. She wasn't paying attention in school. Denver says, yeah, interest rates go up as high as 18% back in the 70s. Yes. Connie Bonnie is wishing everybody an enjoyable Easter, and Miss Dorothy is saying amen. But as we close today, yes, this Holy Thursday show, thank you, Denny, so much. I want to leave us with this. We're not going to be back until Tuesday, but Holy Thursday teaches us humanity and service. And even though we covered about this Artemis 2, it's rocketing off and about to orbit the moon. That, my friends, reminds us of courage and exploration. And our Caymanian heritage, as you have so shared here with us today, grounds us in community, memory, and belonging. And when you look at these stories, they may seem different, but they share one truth. We are connected. That's what they share. And when you look at that, we're connected to each other, to our past, to our future, and even to Earth that has been reconfirmed here today, and even to the moon above us. So tonight, as we're reminded that connection through the powerful story that we shared with our guests, and we want to thank again Stuart Wilson from the National Trust and Miss Tunisia Barnes from the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture for joining us, letting us know what's about to unfold with the relocation of Miss Louiswise Louwellin House. You know, together they helped us to understand the importance, one, of an NGO, a nonprofit organization, and the importance of preservation, preserving that 200-year-old Caymanian house. And that was a home filled with stories and footsteps and generation of Caymanian life. My footprint's right up in there. And even as the land around us changes and development moves forward, this home is being relocated to protect it, not to erase it. And that act, that choice, my friends, is a true reminder that our history is worth definitely saving. I'm hearing the stories. I'm seeing your feedback. Oh my gosh, yes, there is so much. We're so rich. But when you tie it all in with even what Denny is saying, it's worth fighting for. That isn't a question. That's a statement. Because it is our identity and it is worth fighting for. And when you look at the progress and the preservation, the two can walk side by side when we choose to honor both. But that's a choice. So, my dear friends, we are a small island, but we are part of the greater story as well. Yeah, because even though we have astronauts circling the moon and preparing for witness, the side that human eyes have never seen, here in Cayman, we gather on the shores and just enjoy what shaped us as generations. We pitch our tents, we light our fires, we cook our food and reconnect with one another. That's Cayman. It is our story. It is a faith, our story that comes together as one. And yes, a story of heritage, including homes, the families and memories we choose to preserve. Yes. And a story, my friends, that is still being written. It has been my pleasure bringing you another episode of Sabrina Speaks. I want to wish you a blessed, blessed Easter. Please be safe. Love you lots. God bless. Good night. See you on Tuesday.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.